Yes, this book series, How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I finished the last book in the series today, and it's book number 20. And it did say that in the afterword that there might be a collection of short stories coming, but I guess for all practical purposes, I have read through the entire series. And it's time to comment a little bit about my experience with this book series. And if I start with the last book, since I did talk a little bit about currently reading it the other day. So one thing that I was somewhat expectant of was rather that I found it likely to be in the book was a story about I guess you could say the main antagonist character in the book series, the leader of the Tiger Kingdom. And his fate was left somewhat uncertain in the previous book, I think it was. He might have survived and he might not have survived. And the previous book didn't provide any clarity on that. So I was kind of hoping that this book would include a short story about what he was doing, whether he was alive or not, but it didn't. I think perhaps ending on that would have been nice, but since there is possibly another book with some short stories coming up, and it sounded like it's quite long. I think afterwards has said that it was something like 500 pages of short stories. I guess it's not impossible that he will show up in one of those, of course. But as for the main book series up to book 20, his fate is still unknown. But it did provide some updates and say some closure to some of the other storylines, some of the other characters that have showed up in the book series so far, and there are quite a lot of characters, so it's not entirely unnatural that after having 19 books, he would, the author that is, would have one book where he essentially provided a short description or short story for each of the, not everyone, but at least many of the main characters and what their fates were. And you have some stories about his children, his many children, and the main character himself after some years have passed since the events of the previous book. And I enjoyed the stories. It was interesting to see how things went. It does jump a little bit backwards and forwards in time, but that's okay. So I guess the most lacking part of the book was perhaps the bit about the antagonist character, which I would have wanted to see something about. But Overall, I found it enjoyable. It's set after the end of the main storylines, so there's really no cliffhangers or anything like that. It's mainly just stories about the different characters, letting you know what they end up doing and how they turn out. Some years passed. I think the main character was in the end of his 30s or something in the stories, for example. But they not extremely much tension in the book, since it is set after the main storyline. But overall, what did I think of the book series? And well, it is at least it starts out as a fairly traditional isekai story. You have someone from our world that ends up in a fantasy kingdom, and it's the kind of story where he uses his skills from our world, his knowledge from our world, to improve the kingdom, and that's reflected in the title of the story, how the realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. Here I see we have a fish theme, so let's see if we can find some rare fish there. But returning to the story, so I did watch the anime a couple of years ago, and this story is, I guess you could say, part of a subgenre of isekai stories that I very much enjoy, which is well, it's basically what is reflected in the title, to see how someone that has been exposed to the knowledge and technology from our world, our society, how this kind of person is able to adapt these ideas to a fantasy world and then improve on that world and the societies in that world. And this book series is very much that, I would say. Related, but there's some other steam over there. So we'll see how it goes with this one first, and then we'll go on to the next one. But the book series has very much main character, applying his ideas to the world he's living in, and unfortunately this is not fish with sufficient rarity, so we go to the next one. And he is somewhat different in an approach to what you have in many of these stories. Isekai stories, he's not really OP, he doesn't have any... he does have some magical powers, but he doesn't really have any significant magical powers, and he isn't very strong physically or martially, but he is quite clever and prudent in the way he applies his knowledge, and he is able to attract attendants, associates that are better than him in various areas, such as stronger fighters or better military strategists and so on. And he makes use of their skills to improve his kingdom in various ways. So this is slightly different from what you have in many stories, where it's mainly the hero that goes on to fight some kind of demon king or something like this. At least that seems to be the pattern in many of the traditional isekai stories. And this too bad. I'll never find out what kind of fish there was there. He has a demon lord type enemy also in this story, as you have in many other isekai stories, but it is handled quite differently in this story from compared to what you have in the traditional story of this kind. So at least originally, I guess you had the traditional hero's journey. So you had someone from our world coming to a fantasy world, and they will get some kind of special powers. And you would have an antagonist in the Demon King, and he will go on to fight that enemy. And that would be the basic structure of the story. I think I saw some fish over here also. Let's try to go in that direction at least. So this world that he ends up in also exists in a state of being under threat of demon invasion from the north, but it is handled in the end quite differently from how it would traditionally be, and this is a thing that he also states in his afterwards, but he attempts to treat several things slightly differently from the normal formula, and the way he has handled let's call it Demon Kingdom is also different in this book series compared to what one might expect. And another thing that the author commented on was that he rather dispose of his the antagonistic characters in the book series that the hero runs into. He reuses them, if that's the right term, in various ways. So you have, for example, one of the initial antagonistic characters that ends up becoming an ally in this story, and the main antagonistic character also is somewhat more complex in that he doesn't really start out as an enemy. He's not necessarily evil, but more very much driven and with goals that are in opposition to the protagonist. So overall, I enjoyed reading it. It was interesting. It has 20 books, as I said, and 19 of these have the main storyline. I think the story that was made into an anime is perhaps one of the better story arcs, the initial story arc. It has quite a lot of twists and turns, and some surprising revelations at the end, and it's the same with some of the other storylines, especially with regards to how this fantasy world looks in relationship to the world that protagonist comes from, so from our world. So I think it was quite enjoyable. I haven't really decided whether I'm going to rewatch the anime. I am a little bit tempted to do that, but perhaps I'll wait a little bit longer. I haven't heard anything about there being additional seasons, but I was able to read through the book series, so I was able to find out how the story went. I guess if I to classify it more generally, it is fantasy world with magic, and it has, I guess you could say, a modern anime fantasy twist in that you have lots of humanoid races, sort of beast men, cats, people-like humanoids, and dragon-like humanoid characters, and quite a lot of different races, and you have some kind of ancient technology that is indistinguishable from magic type of technology, and yeah, some revelations in some of the story arcs related to this. I thought it was I would say I thought it was enjoyable. It's also original, and I would say it's quite epic, and it has several very entertaining story arcs, and it in several places goes in different directions than one might expect. And one thing about this type of story that I enjoy is that you get to see how the kingdom or the world and that the protagonist ends up in is being shaped by him or her being in it, and this world is definitely significantly changed by the protagonist's presence. So he is able to take it in a significantly different direction than it would have taken if he hadn't been there. And this is not simply on the level of conflict between different countries and wars and so on, but also with regards to the technologies, science, and so on, weapons and so on that he introduces into this world. So I enjoyed it. If the short stories end up being translated into English also, which I guess they probably will be, then probably read those also. And I'm not really a big fan of short stories in general. I prefer more longer narratives, but when you have read so much about the characters in a world, as long as you have familiar events and places and so on, I will probably be sufficiently interested in that I will end up reading them. So yes, with that I think I have managed to finish my journey with that series for now, and it's in time for the new season of anime that is currently ongoing. It's I think several new series started a couple of weeks ago this month, and I still haven't gotten around to watching any of them. I still have to do some catch up from last year first, but when I get around to them I will see if there's anything interesting going on also this season. But yes, so that was the How Realist Hero Rebuilt Kingdom book series. So I recommend for me, I would say. At least I enjoyed.